show for y'all. Deep breaths, love. Let's go. Hey, family. Hey, family. Hey, family. It is your girl, Mrs. Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, honey, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? Yes, for divine intervention, honey. You know there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in your life. And your girl is a community builder, honey. Why? Because you know I love giving you the good information, boo. The things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions and family. It's Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free. Hey, we on the radio. We are on the radio every time I come every week. I'm just so excited. Y'all don't understand how this is a dream that God has brought into fruition. And so each and every week, I'm so grateful and I'm so excited to be here to share, just some little tidbits, just some little tidbits that I've learned along the way. Well, family, y'all know your girl don't have much time, so I'm going to jump right on into it. We are continuing our series. It is called Demonic Entities, honey. Y'all know if y'all been following your girl, we have been doing this series, Demonic Entities. This is week 3. The first week we did the mind. This is how your girl do every week. I break it down every 4 weeks. Your mind was self-sabotage. That was week 1. Last week was inflammation for the body. That is food addiction. These are the things, y'all. Y'all know the food will hold you hostage, won't it? I love food. Food don't always like me, but I love food. Don't always make the best decisions, but I'm getting a lot better. But just talking about how it shows up in the body, the foods that we eat can cause inflammation. And then this week we are on the spirit and we are talking shame and guilt this week. Oh, this is a good one. I call them the twins, shame and guilt. Yeah, they the twins. They generally ride together. they come together. They just double trouble, messing with you and messing with your life. And so, how did I come up with this demonic entities? The breakdown, the long version, is on the YouTube channel. It is Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free. That is Reflections CMGF, Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free at YouTube. Under the podcast section, there is a list called Demonic Entities. Your girl's been working on this process for probably 4 or 5 years now. The Lord gave me this vision. I kept seeing angels falling out of the sky. Initially, I saw the devil getting kicked out of heaven. And then I read about it and I started researching and found out that the devil wasn't the only one. Like I had no idea that the devil wasn't the only one that was kicked out of heaven, that left heaven and left that realm. There were 200 and some angels that chose to go with the devil. And how do those demonic entities, how do those spirits show up in the world? They show up as the demonic entities, the spirits that we live with: sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, unworthiness, unforgiveness, jealousy, despair, hopelessness, apathy, annoyance. Have you ever just been having this spirit where you just, this season, where you just annoyed at somebody, you so disgusted with them, like everything you do, everything they say or do, like they just breathe and you're like, I don't even like, why they breathing like that? That's a spirit. A spirit of annoyance is on you. Disgust, right? Entitlement. You ever felt like somebody owed you something? Just not grateful at all. You just feel like, yeah, they should be doing this for me. That's a demonic spirit, baby. Perfectionism is a big one. That's a big one. Perfectionism, honey. It is demonic. It is a chain. These are all chains that the Lord has given me. I see chains when I think of these words. They hold you hostage. They will keep you from purpose. They will keep you from loving the people that you're supposed to love. They will isolate you, right? The devil will use these things to isolate you, to keep you trapped, to keep you thinking these negative thoughts. And so we're shedding light on the demonic entity, shame and guilt today. Now, that was just my intro. But before I get started and get into it, y'all, I have to go back to yesterday and give a shout out to my church, Church of the Living God, PGT on Palace Street, 1326, y'all. North Palace Street is where the palace is what it is affectionately been coined by our pastor, Dr. Deborah Hopes. She celebrated, or we celebrated, the first Sunday that she came with us. Our pastor was overseer, Kay Chappelle. She was sick and did not know, how sick that she was going to be. And the Lord sent us Deborah Hopes. Now, Dr. Deborah Hopes, excuse me, to put some respect on the name, Doctor. No disrespect, Pastor. Dr. Deborah Hopes sent sent us this beautiful, beautiful spirit. Of course, we didn't know. We just thought, Pastor would be out for a little while and she was going to come in and fill in. But, the Lord saw otherwise. And so he gave us coverage. And that how good God is, he will give you coverage. And so yesterday was a year from the very first Sunday that she came. And she came up with an amazing idea. And this is for somebody today. This is for someone who is looking for a speaker, who is searching all around looking. Honey, look within your four walls. People are sitting in your pews and you have no idea the gifts that they have in them. Pastor had the idea to have the young women in the church. She picked 5 of us to speak yesterday. It's beautiful. 20-year-old Tanaya Elmore. Beautiful, beautiful spirit. I'm not going to tell everybody's age. But I had to tell Tanaya's because she was the baby. Tanaya Elmore. Beautiful, beautiful spirit. Miss April Simmons. Yes, Miss April Simmons. Yura Mitchell. And Miss Crystal Wynn. And then your girl. We all spoke as the women of grace yesterday. When I tell you the spirits moved and shined just through each and every one of us, the name of the program was called The Promise of the Believer. It was called The Promise of the Believer. And Pastor led with Luke 1:45. It was blessed is she who believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her. Ooh, and I tell y'all, we had a good time. I don't have time to get into it. I only had 30 minutes. Y'all got to go back. Follow Church of the Living God on Facebook. You can follow your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin. Honey, I reposted it today. It was a beautiful, beautiful service, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. I would be remiss to say, honey, come. The doors of our church is always open. You can come. Sunday school is 9:45. This for my pastor. Service is Sunday school starts at 9:45 and worship starts at 11 a.m. Honey, know that you are always welcomed at the palace. And I'm just so grateful again to my pastor. I go, y'all, and I speak. And I've been doing this for a few years now, speaking at, different women's conferences. I've gone all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland to speak to women's conferences and, different events that people invite me to. I've been keynote speaker, but I had never spoken at my church. And so that was a blessing. I told Pastor yesterday, I said, God, won't he answer your prayers? I didn't say anything to anyone. Only me and God had that conversation. So that's for somebody that's sitting up waiting for God to answer your prayers. Honey, he's listening. I just want to encourage you today that he is listening and he will provide. He will provide the dreams of your heart, right? The desires of your heart. and in the least expected time, right? And so just trust Him and keep walking. And so let's get into this today, y'all. Demonic entities, these fallen angels, and how they appear in our day to day. And so today, again, we're talking about the spirits, shame, and guilt. The spirit, shame, and guilt. Now, there's so many different ways to go with this, but what I want to do today is I just want to break down how it shows up, what it is, and how it shows up. So, guilt is an emotional state that arises when an individual believes or realizes they have done something wrong or morally unacceptable. The feeling stems from a specific action, thought, inaction that conflicts with their personal values, societal norms, or ethical standards. Guilt often involves a sense of responsibility or remorse for the perceived wrongdoing, and it can motivate individuals to make amends, seek forgiveness, or change their behaviors to avoid repeating the mistake. But what happens with the demonic entity and how it's used in that way, most people do something, they'll feel guilty, and you go back and you apologize. This is not that. The spirit jumps on you when you have done something you know you wrong. Come on, Christian people. You know you wrong, right? Come on, church. You know you wrong. You talking about somebody you know you wrong. Uh-huh. You doing somebody dirty, plotting on doing this and doing that. You know you wrong, right? And you don't acknowledge, right? You don't take the time to be remorseful about it. And so that spirit is sitting on you. That guilty spirit is sitting on you. And even though you might not recognize it or acknowledge it in the beginning, as you allow it to sit and fester in your subconscious mind, guess what? It's going to come back. It's almost like I just saw a picture of, you know, how you allow water to sit. And initially it's just water, like that's all you can see. But as you allow it to sit and sit and sit and fester, right? Something else happened to get all cloudy, nasty, moldy. You see these bubbles and stuff pop up on, right? It gets just, ugh. That's some spirits sitting on you. And so you start feeling some kind of way. That's what it is. And so let's jump on in a little bit deeper. Now, some reasons for guilt. These are some reasons for subconscious guilt. You have some unresolved past mistakes. A lot of this stuff stems from, childhood or again, decisions that you might have made earlier in life. It's not things that are going on right now, right? It may or may not be things that are happening right now, but a lot of it stems. And so some people are like, I feel perfectly fine, but these are unresolved past mistakes. So it's past actions that were perceived as wrong or harmful, even if they were minor or understandable, can linger in the subconscious mind, creating persistent sense of guilt. Number two is unmet expectation. Failing to meet one's own or other expectations, whether they are realistic or not, can lead you to feelings of guilt. Have you ever tried to do something and it wasn't even somebody that came and told you that you were doing it, that you were supposed to do it, but it was you. You put this, I'm going to do this, or I was going to do that, or I wanted to start this business, or I wanted to do this, and you wasn't able to do it. Something happened and you genuinely wasn't able to do it, but you feel so guilty about not being able to go forth and do whatever it was. An unmet expectation that you put on yourself. No one came to you and said, man, you didn't do so and so. And sometimes they will, but a lot of times this stuff we hold ourselves hostage, right? And so you failing to meet an expectation. Number three is moral or ethical conflict. Acting in ways that conflict with one's moral or ethical beliefs can create internal guilt. That internal guilt, that is, your mama taught you better. Big mama taught you better, right? And you out there doing stuff. This might come if you're possibly out there suffering from drug addiction, from alcoholism, from sexism, from, any of it, gambling, drinking, all of it. Moral or ethical conflicts, mama taught you better. And so it doesn't stop you from doing whatever you're doing, but you feel bad about it each and every time, right? Number four is huge, survivor's guilt. Surviving a traumatic event that others did not, or feeling undeserving of one's good fortune when others are suffering, can lead to deep seated guilt. This is huge. I was working with a young man and he was in a terrible car accident, and one of his friends was killed in the accident. And he feels so guilty, even to this day, about it. He's been carrying this thing around, and this happened over 30, 25, 30 years ago. But he's been carrying that thing around because he said, I was the one that told him, hey, man, come on, get in the car, right? And had I not said, so survivor's guilt, it is, even though we know, even in tragedy, we don't know God's timing. We don't know why God chooses for things to happen. But for whatever reason, we take these things on as if we had the power, right? And we don't. As hard as it is to look at it like that, that is definitely how you have to look at it. That no, it wasn't you. For whatever reason, God does allow these tragic things to happen. But it's not on you, honey. That's not something for you to pick up. So that is survivor's guilt. Number five is parental or societal conditioning. Being raised in an environment where guilt is used as a tool for control or discipline can embed feelings of guilt in response to various behaviors or thoughts. This is huge for the parents. I know a lot of times I was a young mother. And so some of the things I had to go back and say, well, we think because this is how we were raised, or this is what happened in my house, or, this was done to me. And so that makes it okay. So I did it to my child, and all of that type of stuff, can cause you to feel guilty when you go back and look at, man, that really was, you know, hmm, it can cause you to have some guilt about it. Number six is cultural and religious belief. Cultural norms and religious teaching that emphasize guilt for certain actions or thoughts can contribute to subconscious guilt. This is huge because I promise you, if church folk don't make you feel like one sin is way worse than the other when they're all equal, ooh, church folk will do it. Church folk will do it. Will make you feel as if one sin is more, weighs more than the other, and it doesn't. They're all created equal. Sin is sin, boo. Sin is sin. But teaching and emphasizing guilt that certain actions or thoughts can contribute to subconscious guilt. Number seven is failed relationships. Feeling responsible for failure of personal or professional relationships, whether the blame is justified or not. I know for me, I definitely felt like when my divorce came, and a lot of men go through this, but I really felt like, I picked that up. I didn't say it, right? I didn't realize it that guilt had jumped on me at that period of point in time. But for people that are in a relationship, for, when you've been in situations where you feel like, man, could I have done more? Could I have done this? Or, it just didn't work out. And so then, even with your children, what happened with me was with my child, the relationship didn't work out. I felt guilty about the relationship not working out. And so I overcompensated with my child, right? It was, whether your dad is here or not, we're going to do this or that. Whatever you want to do, we're going to do it. And so I overcompensated. I was buying more than I had to buy. I purchased more. I've caught myself, the girl is about to be 30 next month. And I've caught myself even as just past in the fall, August, September, overcompensating, still holding and carrying that guilt. And I'm like, where does it come from? And so you have to recognize these things. And that is part of it, of what I'm doing today, because I need you to recognize some of these things that we're carrying and we don't even realize it. It's so buried in the subconscious. Failed relationships. Number 8, and the last one, is empathy overload. Taking on the emotional burdens of others, feeling guilty for their suffering, and believing you should have done more to help. I'm a very empathetic person. The Lord blessed me. I think it's a gift to be empathetic. But sometimes what happens with people who are empathetic, you will pick up things that don't even belong to you. Right? God sends us there as a support system. And sometimes we feel like, most empathetic people are fixers by nature. You empathize with the situation and then you want to fix it, and you just take on this whole situation that God just sent you there to be a listening ear, right? God is the fixer. And so you end up taking on all these emotional burdens, feeling guilty for their suffering, believing you should have done more to help. What else can I do? You've given and given and given and all of the things, and you're still feeling bad about it. Yes. These are some reasons for subconscious shame. Early childhood experiences, negative experiences during formative years, such as neglect, abuse, criticism, can instill a deep sense of shame. Like I said, most of this shame and guilt does that door open back when you were young. You just haven't recognized it as that. One of the biggest things that I realize is that we have picked these things up and we don't realize them, because this is what everybody does. This is how everyone responds. This is what everyone is going through. This is what I know, right? So you don't look at it as it's something wrong. Everybody goes through this. And so you don't look at it that way, but you have to take a very intentional look at your life to see, what are you carrying, because it is affecting your walk. If you have all these chains on you, boo, how are you going to take flight? Right? You're only going to get so far. You're wondering why you're stuck. These subconscious, very, very subconscious chains are holding you hostage. Number 2 is social rejection or bullying. Now, how many of us have been bullied? Being bullied, ostracized, or socially rejected can lead to feelings of unworthiness. When I was younger, everybody used to talk about my eyes, especially the little boys talked about how big my eyes were. My eyes were so big, they called me the big-eyed girl, big-eyed girl, big-eyed girl. And what's so crazy is that as I've gotten older, that's all every man, every woman, anybody has always said, "Oh my goodness, your eyes are so beautiful." Can you believe that at one period of time I was so ashamed of my eyes? And they are a gift. And even when I think about it, God gives me visions. And so my eyes are even more so, right? A gift from God. But that social rejection and bullying is real. Number three, parental criticism and expectation. Parents who overly critical, demanding, or emotionally unavailable can make children feel inherently inadequate, unworthy of love. We're gonna do another. It's a whole segment that I want to do about emotional unavailability. That one right there will have you underneath in some darkness, being around people that are emotionally unavailable. Number three is it a traumatic event? Experiencing or witnessing traumatic events, especially if one feels powerless or responsible, can lead to deep shame. This one is very, very, very important as well. This for people, I think of people that, may have been, watched somebody else be molested or watched your mom get beat up. Will Smith talks about this in his book where he watched his mom, get beat up. Tyler Perry talks about watching his mom get beat up and how traumatic of an experience that caused, and what shame that these little boys feel because they can't save their mom, right, from this bully of a man. And so very, very big traumatic events. Number five is cultural and social norms. Number six is body image issues. Number seven is sexual abuse or assault. Number eight is failures and setbacks. And I'm hurrying up because I'm running out of time. But this 30 minutes be going by fast. Addressing subconscious guilt and shame, of course, therapy and counseling. I talk about professional help all the time because we have got to break the stigma of thinking because you're a Christian that is some shame in getting help and getting counselors. Counselors are angels sent from heaven. And the right counselor is definitely an angel sent from God Himself. Professional help can provide tools and strategies to uncover and address these deep seated feelings. And I talk about cognitive, having the right therapist, because those of y'all out there who have gone to therapy, have tried it and said therapy doesn't work, I promise you, you probably had the wrong therapist. All therapists are not created equal. If you have experienced any type of trauma, any type of childhood, anything, cognitive behavioral therapy. Someone who specializes in cognitive behavior therapy is CBT. Is who you need to have in your corner. Also, someone who specializes in EMDR. If they do CBT therapy, they generally are trained in EMDR as well. That is, both of those are healing modalities, very specific treatment regimens that is necessary to heal trauma and people that have been through traumatic events. Number two is self-reflection and mindfulness. Practicing that practices that promote self-awareness, listening to your girl and getting these little nuggets I'm dropping you. It's just the first step to identify and mitigate subconscious guilt and shame. Number three is healthy relationships. Building supportive and understanding relationships can provide a safe space to discuss and heal from these feelings. And number four is self-compassion. Learning to treat oneself with kindness and understanding can counteract the negative self perception associated with guilt and shame. And I'm going to tell you what, guilt and shame have the twins that always beat them up. Are the best twins ever, honey, is grace and mercy. So give yourself some grace today. If you're feeling or have felt any of these emotions, remember that you can always find your girl on Reflection CMGF at YouTube. And thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Well, family, this has been another divine intervention. Thank you for tuning in to Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free with your girl, Miss Michelle D.I. Every week, we will have the uncomfortable but necessary conversations as it relates to your mind, your body, your spirit, and emotions. You've suffered long enough. It's time to break free. So join me every Monday at 1 p.m. right here on KGLD Radio, where you can fill your spirit with gospel all day long. See you next week.
Yo, mind if I take you back a little bit?